Most of the best opportunities I've had recently didn't come from big moves. They came from little things at the time I almost didn't even think mattered. So today I'm sharing 5 tiny seeds that you can plant quietly that will have big wins in your future. Hi, my name is Jodelle. Welcome to my channel. I talk all about leadership, finding your voice, all sorts of different things on this channel. You can find a video for pretty much anything. So if you like what you see and you like me, then remember to sub if you love. So the first seed that you could sow that could have a surprising win in the future is to send the thank you DM, even if it feels a little awkward. After you've had a great conversation with somebody, you've worked on a project together, you've simply just met them at a networking event, always reach out, always say thank you for that connection. It is polite and that's wonderful. People do remember gratitude, and it's a way to keep those lines of communication open. This comes to mind when I worked with a company called Magic Mind. I was very sure to send them a follow-up DM at the end, not only thanking them, but asking them for some feedback on how I could show up differently or get more opportunities in the future. Having that line of communication open was really great. They wrote me back, they gave me some feedback, and I was actually able to share a win with them further on down the road. So I've kept that line of communication open. Maybe there'll be an opportunity, maybe there won't be, but if I ever wanted to use them as a reference, if I was trying to get other opportunities with different companies, then I've built a really strong relationship with them and they're going to remember me. And so that's a seed that I've planted that may or may not have anything grow from it. But that's the thing with seeds. You don't always know which ones will take root and which ones won't. So you want to be planting a bunch all the time with no ulterior motive. Seed number 2 is my absolute favorite. And this one is show up before you're 100% ready. And so what does that mean? You want to show up before you've perfected the thing, before you're 100% totally ready to start networking, knowing what that discovery call might look like, whatever the case may be for you, just start. Getting more data is actually crucial to growing your skill set. So if you're constantly in your own head and you're waiting and you're trying to perfect it, but you haven't actually done the thing, you're not going to actually grow or get as far along the path as if you just launch it and then start iterating on it, because now you're going to get real-time feedback from other people. I built a website. I was getting some feedback, and because I built it and I put it live and then I shared it out. And so that feedback I was getting, I was able to make some real-time changes. If you always wait till you're 100% ready, you're going to miss out on some really great opportunities. So don't wait, just start, take that first big step. That's always the biggest hurdle. And if you can get through that, then you'll be off to the races and you'll be ahead of like 90% of the people. I totally just pulled that statistic out of thin air, but so many people never start because they just feel so stuck and it's so overwhelming, that first step. So just take it, do it, launch yourself, and you'll be amazed at how much quicker the process gets on that back end of that first step. The third seed that you want to plant is give without keeping score. So you want to give freely. You want to give your tips and your feedback. You want to provide value for other people without any intention of it coming back to you. You never know who is watching. You never know what kind of reputation you're leaving behind with the person. That person might not directly impact you. You don't know who's watching and you don't know what they're saying to other people. You are simply planting a seed that you show up, that you have integrity, that you do what you say you're going to do, and you show up with guns a-blazing, right? You're showing up, you're giving them value, and there's no expectation that you're going to get it in return from that person. You're simply planting a seed of how you can show up in different relationships. And that has huge impact. Word of mouth is king. Your reputation will always precede you. So you want to be leaving the best impression on everyone around you that you possibly can, because you really never know what people are saying about you behind closed doors and in the rooms that you're not in. And if they're speaking highly of you in those cases, that is your best friend. That is your superpower. Let them do that networking piece for you. Let them do those cold calls for you because you've left such a great impression. The fourth seed that you could be planting is to say yes to random invites. I had a fabulous experience. I wanted to reach out to this local fair. It was a fairy fantasy fair, totally amazing and fun. But with my company, I just wanted to donate product. I had reached out to her and said, hey, I really want to be part of this. When I did that, I attached my YouTube link. She actually came back to me and she was like, hey, would you like to moderate a couple panels? I think you'd be a really great fit. And so I got to, host a couple of panels. I got to dress up. I'll insert some pictures and stuff here. And it was super fun. And I would not have gotten that opportunity. I didn't even know it was an opportunity if I hadn't have reached out. And then of course, when she asked, said yes to it. So just say yes, show up, do the thing. You don't have to overload your plate. You can simply pick one thing out of the month. Just say yes to something. Open up those doors of opportunity. you might not know what you're saying yes to. And that's the beauty of it. I just said yes to a networking event the other night. It's totally outside my wheelhouse, but it's something I'm really getting used to now. My goal this year is to get on some podcasts. And there was a lovely woman. She had a podcast. We were talking and she said, hey, you'd be a great fit to be on the podcast. And now I've got a podcast that I'm going to be on. You never know the connections that you're going to make. You don't know what other people are bringing to the table. So really saying yes to different opportunities and to random invites is such a great seed to sow because you really don't know what's going to come of it. And the fifth seed is to nurture dead contacts. Those dead contacts aren't really dead. They are just dormant. A simple, hey, I've been thinking about you, you've been on my mind lately, really will fire up that relationship again. And it's such an easy way to reconnect with somebody. A little tip that I do is I actually put that in my calendar to make sure that I'm reaching out to people. Now that I'm making more and more connections, I'll go through maybe my LinkedIn, I'll go through some of my text messages just to make sure that I haven't let anyone fall off the wayside. It's simply keeping that line of communication open and just saying, hey, I'm thinking about you. How are you doing? How are you checking in on them? I still am interested in collabing with you. There's this wonderful woman that I've met and we have tried to collab together. We really want to work together. It just hasn't worked out quite yet. But I'm making sure that I'm still keeping in touch with her because I never know where that might come up, that I might be able to offer her support or vice versa. She could offer me some insight and support. So I want to keep those connections warm and not let them fizzle out because it's so easy to just let things fizzle out. It's also so easy to simply send a quick text and say, hey, this is something that I'm working on. This is something I've built. How are you doing? What are you working on? And keeping that line of communication open. Remember, every big tree started with a tiny seed that nobody even paid attention to. You really don't know what small action you take today that will have an impact on your future tomorrow. But it definitely will not have an impact if you're not planting seeds. So just remember, they can be super tiny. You don't know what small action you're taking today that will have a massive impact tomorrow. And that is what we're doing, right? That is the idea behind planting seeds, is that some of them will come to fruition and some of them won't. So let go of the expectation that the actions you're taking today will have any value tomorrow because you just don't know which ones will and which ones won't. That's why I would encourage you to celebrate your small wins every day because you don't know which one of those small wins are going to show up tomorrow. One of the other things that I wanted to share was I ran for the advisory board. I made a video about it. I epically failed. I made a video about failing. I created a space on X about failing. I didn't know that making the choice to run for that advisory board would have this impact where I would make a video about it. I would talk about failure. I would make a space on failure. And then I would use that video when I was trying to be just on a speaker's panel in the Empower Women Canada event that went on. And when I sent that video, their MC, which I didn't know, had dropped out last minute. And they actually turned around and said, hey, we think you'd be a great fit to MC the whole event. So I got a paid speaking opportunity the very first time out of the gate. And they trusted me enough to show up with integrity and to host their event for them. So that was amazing. That was such a huge win. That was such a, this seed that I planted in doing the advisory board and putting myself out there like that. All I thought it was going to do was maybe build up my self-esteem of being an owner in the company. And instead it had this amazing end result years later. And I just never would have known if I hadn't have tried and hadn't have planted that seed. Really get out there, put yourself out there, try different things and let go of the expectation that, there's anything that will come of any of the seeds that you plant because surely something will come from left field. You won't even know it. And letting go of that expectation will just have you really enjoying your life in the moment. So anyways, thanks very much for watching. If you like what you saw and you like me, then sub if you love, and I will catch you in another video. Bye.